Hey everyone, and welcome to today's WordStream webinar. Today we're going to talk about big changes to Google ad placement and how it will affect your campaigns. My name's Callie, and I'm here to get things started. I want to just get some of the logistics out of the way so I can hand it over to our presenter today so she can get straight to the fun and all of the learning. So following the presentation, you will receive an email with today's recording and slides. So if you want to review something or share it with any colleagues, you'll have the ability to do that. We are also hopeful that we'll have a little time for Q&A following the live presentation, so definitely be sure to submit your questions throughout and we'll get to as many as possible. And if we don't get to them or you have anything following, you can definitely follow up with myself or Erin following the presentation. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with WordStream, we are a search marketing software provider with free and paid tools to help you easily grow your AdWords, Bing, and now even your Facebook campaigns. So if you're looking to master paid search or paid social or pretty much anything related to digital marketing, check out our PPC University at wordstream.com/learn. You also can check out our blog. It's kind of like a one-stop shop for all things related to paid search, and we'll provide you with all the information you need to stay on top of everything going on in this kind of ever-changing industry that we're in. So definitely check that out. Now, during today's presentation, we encourage you to be social, so definitely join in on the conversation on Twitter and follow @WordStream and then our presenter today @Erin Sagan. She's always very active on Twitter, and you can keep up with her. Now, I have the great pleasure of introducing our presenter today, Erin Sagan, as I mentioned. She is our PPC evangelist and community manager here at WordStream. She's been here for what seems like forever, going on probably 5 years now. And when she's not, covering all breaking news related to PPC and Google and, knee deep in any data, she is hula hooping around Boston or traveling throughout the world, or sometimes she's just completely devoted to Netflix. And as I mentioned, she's super active on Twitter, so feel free to follow her and tweet her. You'll definitely be in the know if you do that. And now I'm going to pass it over to Erin to get started.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Callie, for the lovely introduction, and I am excited to cover this news with you guys. So getting started, as you are all aware, the reason you are on this webinar today is because there has been some major breaking news coming out of AdWords. And it happened just a couple of days ago. Actually, I was happily and peacefully celebrating my 28th birthday last Thursday, or I guess 2 Thursdays ago, here with the WordStream team when this news kind of erupted and mass chaos ensued. I mean, the Twitter sphere was going crazy. Our clients were calling in kind of mad panics. And what started out as a pretty pleasant, peaceful day turned into a little bit of a nightmare. And the reason is because it finally came out that Google is killing off the side ads located in the right rail of your SERP. So as you can imagine, I mean, this is a really, really big change. And it holds a lot of unknowns for us as PPC advertisers, both people in the paid sphere and also on the organic side, right? SEOs. This is a huge change. So we're seeing a couple things coupled with the disappearance of these side ads. So the first thing is you see, rather than having 3 ads as we've traditionally seen at the top of the SERP, you see Google is now promoting 4 ads at the top, and they've moved ads 5 through 7 down to the very bottom of the page, gotten rid of 8 through 11. So now they are only showing 7 ads on the SERP. So this is a pretty big change for advertisers. Let's talk a little bit, we'll talk a little bit in this webinar about what it means. But first, let's cover why did Google do this? Great question. We don't really know the answer. There's a lot of theories floating around out there. My guess is that it has a lot to do with usability. They've wanted to, or they're constantly striving to provide a better experience to searchers, and this is directly in line with that. So you can see here, Google's done tons and tons of testing, which they've released to us about the eye tracking of users on the SERP. And you can see the vast majority of people are really focused on that left-hand side of the page. Now, when there are ads or when there are maps or other images on the right-hand side, we see they do get a little bit of eye traffic, but the primary eye traffic is happening over here on the left. And when ads populate that right-hand rail, we see even less engagement, right? Eyes really aren't going there. They're focused on the left-hand side where you see, in the past you saw 3 ads and then you saw the organic listings. Now this may be for a couple of reasons. It might be partially because people are used to looking at phones and are getting more and more comfortable looking at phones. And on a phone, you have this incredibly streamlined SERP, right? It's all directly in one line. There is nothing on that right-hand rail. So it could be that Google wants to give us a really clean experience across all devices. It could also have a little bit to do with this engagement, right? You want to give people what they're currently engaging with. You want to streamline this process, make it in line with what people are doing. We actually have seen them test this for a really long time. So you may have noticed this in the past. Earlier this month, or I guess the end of last month, a former Googler, Fred Valleys, wrote a post saying that they've been testing this actually since 2011. And what they saw for a long time was that the ads on the bottom of the page when they tested it actually did better than the ads on the right-hand rail. So this is nothing new for Google. It's new for advertisers because they're finally releasing this change globally. Now, you might be logged into Google or looking on Google and noticing that actually you're still seeing the right-hand rail. And the reason is because Google has been slowly rolling this out over time. So when it first happened, we saw very, very few ads being shown at the bottom and having that 4-pack at top. And then Moz started tracking it, and they saw over more and more. Last week on the 22nd, it was up to 40% of SERPs were showing this new 4 block with ads at the bottom. My guess is that this number has continued to go up, so it's going to be more and more common that you do see the new layout, eventually switching to that kind of as the standard layout. So don't be surprised if you log in to Google and you're not seeing these changes we're talking about. It is slowly rolling out, but it will be the norm in the future. So with these changes to the search engine result page, we expect to see a lot of changes for PPC advertisers. And there's been tons and tons of theories going around. And I want to point out to you, a lot of these are just theories. It's people playing telephone, you know. Somebody says, oh, I think that this will dramatically increase CPCs. And all of a sudden you have this big rumor that CPCs have gone up dramatically. This change hasn't been live long enough for us to see really, really big impact, right? We haven't been able to measure the impact. We don't know the impact too well right now because it hasn't been released really long and we don't have the data. So the one thing I want to really drive home with you guys today is you're going to see a lot of people posting a lot of stuff about this online, and be discriminatory about what you believe, right? Only focus on posts that are sharing data for this. These little anecdotal things, they're interesting, but a lot of it isn't rooted in data. It's what people assume is going to happen, and that's not worth getting nervous about. So we have a data scientist here at WordStream, Mark Irvin. He is absolutely incredible, and when this came out, he spent the entire Monday after this release figuring out what the data looked like. So this is just the preliminary data, and here's what he saw. A couple really interesting things. So first things first, personally, this blew my mind. We see that position number 3 is actually one of the biggest winners here. And to be honest, I can't tell you why. I have a couple of theories, but I really don't know why we saw click-through rate of position number 3 start to skyrocket. But that was an interesting change. We also saw that position number 4, that new position that's now on the left-hand side and no longer on the right-hand side, we saw a teensy uptick there, but nothing too major. Should point out, a lot of people thought that position number 4 would start to skyrocket because it kind of looks like an organic result to some people who weren't familiar with this change. Looks like it's not quite the case here. Another winner we saw, shopping campaigns. This is huge for commerce advertisers. For the time being, shopping campaigns, for those of you who aren't aware of those, it's the product listing ads, right? The ads with pictures on them of the products that you're selling. Those will remain on the right-hand side. And they did get a lift, right? They actually are getting more traction now, which is a wonderful thing for e-commerce advertisers. We also see that they're getting more, just a greater share of clicks. Loser here, positions 5 through 7. Those are the ads that got chucked from the right-hand side down to the bottom. You can see it's been a slight change. One thing I want to point out is these ads weren't getting a lot of traction in the first place. Like if you were in 5 through 7, you probably weren't bringing in a big share of clicks. So if that share went from 4% to 2.5%, it's so minimal, you probably aren't noticing the difference. It's not necessarily a good thing. I mean, we do want to ensure, you know, that our ads, even if they're in low positions, are getting some traction. But again, we just weren't seeing a lot to begin with, and we're not seeing a lot now. Google's reshuffled, but things haven't majorly changed for these positions. Here, we're kind of a loser before and a loser now. And then the bigger loser are positions 8 through 11, which again, weren't getting a lot of visibility, weren't getting a lot of clicks to begin with, but they have now been evicted to page 2, meaning we'll probably see even less for those positions. So if there's one takeaway here, it's, hey, positions 1 through 4, that's where you want to be. That's where you wanted to be before, and it's still where you want to be now. Another thing that we saw when Mark analyzed this data is that the quantity of PPC traffic really didn't change. Not something we should be super concerned about. We'll continue to watch this one. And we did see that there hasn't been a major change in CPCs, which is wonderful news. I think a lot of people were very, very nervous about this. And as you can see, it hasn't been a big change. I read an article that was written just a couple of days ago, like I said, by an ex-Googler who has been very, very in tune with these changes, and he actually expects it to get better. So we'll see how things go, but I don't think we're going to see any major CPC changes. So what does this all mean for advertisers, and what should your reaction be here? Stay calm. It's kind of good news here. It's not worth panicking about. Now, if you're an agency, your clients may be panicking about that, and so you should work on a strategy to talk to them about this, educate them about this, show them this data, and prove to them that it's not going to be a major change for them. Or if you are the direct advertiser who count, it doesn't mean you need to be panicking right now. The only people who should be mass panicking are the people who are relying really heavily on SEO. And this is just another kick. Kind of like SEO is down anyway. They are constantly getting hurt by Google updates. And this is just yet another kind of kick 'em while you're down. SEO results are now pushed further down the page as a result of those 4 ads appearing at the top. People who were above the fold may now find themselves below the fold. SEO visibility will go down. And this is frankly just in line with what we see with a lot of Google updates. The vast majority of Google's revenue is coming from ad revenue. That is what keeps Google alive, is the money that we are spending on our PPC ads. And so they want more visibility for your ads, and they want more clicks on your ads. So they're slowly pushing down those organic listings to promote your ads. So not a great thing for people who are super focused on SEO, and yet another reason that you should absolutely be using a two-pronged strategy. Not saying that you can't use SEO. SEO is a wonderful thing. Couple it with PPC to mitigate the impact of these types of changes, which I'm sure we will continue to see, and we will always see with Google. Other message I have to you guys, just keep an eye on your performance. We have had a couple people mention, for these small local businesses, they do start to see slight increases in CPCs because there is more competition for those top spots. So if you do see for key terms that you are starting to fall on your position, focus on your quality score. If you can get a better quality score, you'll be able to improve your ad rank. And then, of course, the other way to improve your ad rank is to bump up your bid. So between your bids and your quality scores, you want to keep an eye on them for the terms that matter the most to you. Make sure that you're scoring one of these top 4 positions. And this is a strategy that's nothing new to any of you, I am sure. You've always been focused on these positions. Just keep it up, right? Keep an eye on them. The other thing is, this is looking a lot more like mobile. So some of the strategies you've used for mobile, if there are terms that you've identified that are really important to you, have high commercial intent, you do see a lot of conversions for them, you've probably already been hyper-focused on them for mobile, right? Keep a focus on them for desktop because now position matters even a little bit more. And then along with keeping an eye on your account, keep an eye on the news. The only way you're going to figure out what's happening with this update, how impactful it is to keep an eye on people who are doing the research and doing the data. So Mark produced research when it first came out. He'll probably produce some more research in a couple of weeks when we have more data to work with. Moz has been producing a ton of data on that. Moz typically geared toward SEO. I highly, highly recommend reading their articles. Dr. Pete, who is their resident data scientist, has been doing tons and tons of research on this, producing a lot of great information. Keep an eye on other industry blogs. I like Frederick Valleys. He's a former Googler. He has written a ton of cool stuff on this. We've seen PPC Hero published a little bit on it. So continue to do webinars like this. Continue to keep an eye on the news, and you'll see kind of what other people are experiencing with these updates and what they're doing to mitigate the impact of them. So you can kind of piggyback on them. It's a great thing to do. So that kind of takes me to a close. Like Callie said, we are going to have some time to do Q&A at the end of this. I will forewarn you, this is new to me too. This data is new to all of us. I can't ensure that I'll be able to answer all of your questions, but get them out there. I'll answer them the best that I can. Going to quickly turn it over to Callie for some special offers for you guys.
Great. Thanks so much, Erin. That was awesome. And thanks for, hopping on such short notice. So we have some special offers for you all today. First and foremost, if you'd like a free live demo of the WordStream Advisor software, which, being affiliated with WordStream, when things like this happen, our team can prepare you for these changes and really help you figure out what's best for you. Then we have a free one-on-one AdWords assessment. So we have a team of dedicated Google AdWords certified consultants here at WordStream, and what they'll do is they'll help you identify where you're doing really, really well in AdWords, but they'll also identify some areas of opportunity for you to improve your results. And this is, customized to your actual account, and they can help you figure out what's best for you moving forward. And then if you don't need any help, let us know that as well. So I'll leave that up for a few minutes, and we'll get to some questions.
Yeah, so Callie has been dutifully watching all of your questions come in, and she pulled a few that we're going to start with. So I'll just start by going through some of those. So one person asked, position 3, 4, 5, 7, what are they? Great question. Maybe I should have gone over that more in the beginning of the post. Let me pull up, let me go back in the slide. Okay, so here's what I recommend that you do, since you can't see my screen. When you look at the search engine results page, when you do a search on Google, the ads that appear, the first ad is position 1. The second ad going down the page is position 2, 3, 4, and so forth. With regards to this change, position 3 used to appear as the third ad on the left-hand side of the SERP. Position 4 appeared as the top ad on the right-hand side of the SERP. Now what you're seeing is ads 1 through 4 are at the top of the SERP. 5 through 7 are at the bottom of the SERP. And if you have more questions on that, please reach out to us and we'll be able to send you a page where we denote exactly what those positions are. I mentioned that quality score was a big thing you should be focused on to improve your ad rank. So someone said, hey, what are the best ways to improve your quality scores? Really easy, actually. Well, maybe not easier said than done, but it's a very simple formula. The biggest things that are impacting your quality score are your click-through rates and your landing page engagement. Now, relevancy also is involved. There's a couple other factors involved, but the key things you want to think about to improve your quality scores is A, are people engaging with your ads? Do you have high click-through rates? If you don't, what can you do to improve your click-through rates? Can you make your ads more relevant, more enticing? Maybe it's making them funnier or more emotionally striking, right? Whatever it is to get your ads to resonate with the people who are searching for you and ensure that they're clicking on them, right? Improve your click-through rate. The other thing you want to do is as people come to your landing page, you want to make sure that they're heavily engaged with your landing page. They're not coming, not finding what they need, and dipping. Right? You want them to stick around, to engage, to hopefully convert. But if Google sees that they're engaged with your landing page, that they're finding what they're looking for, you're going to have a higher quality score. So, the best landing pages you can create, that's important. Click-through rates are important. And then the other key is just ensuring that whatever the keyword, the query that they're searching for and that keyword that they're connecting to you want to ensure that your ad is talking about what they're looking for and your landing page is reflective of what they're looking for. So that string of relevancy is critical. Okay, another question. Was the volume of data analyzed limited since this happened? Do you expect trends to change over a longer period of time? 100%. It's incredibly limited, the data that we have thus far. That's one of the reasons that people keep posting about it. You'll see Moz, they update their posts every couple of days with more data analysis. But yeah, it's incredibly limited. That's one of the reasons there's a lot of question marks kind of hanging in the air over what this change means for people. Personally, do I expect trends to change over a long period of time? I don't think they're going to change that dramatically, and I am in good company in that mindset. Larry Kim doesn't believe they're going to change significantly. A lot of major kind of PPC personalities are very zen about this change and don't think it's going to be a majorly impactful. So it's not something I would be super concerned about. Someone asked that I rename the blogs that they should be following for these types of updates. Of course, I'm a huge fan of the WordStream blog. We'll continue to be posting about this. I also recommend Moz, M-O-Z, Moz. They produce a ton of content. Highly recommend that. PPC Hero is great. And another thing to follow is hashtag PPC chat on Twitter. A lot of expert PPCers engage over that hashtag, so it's something to keep an eye on. If you have more questions about this update or other things happening in paid search, I always recommend going to the PPC hashtag on Twitter and asking a question there. Tons of cool people will chime in, and you'll get a lot of opinions on whatever question you have. Someone asked, how can I tell what position my ads are appearing in? Another good question. You can see all of that in the AdWords interface. Right? So you can see the average position that you are appearing in. Now, like I said, keep an eye on that average position. Keep an eye on what your click-through rates are looking for at that position. And also, you want to focus on really ensuring that you're appearing in a high position for terms that are very important to you. Okay, what else am I seeing here? You said that PLAs were winners in this update. What are some ways I can get my PLAs to have some more visibility? First things first, I should point out the only people who can run PLAs are people who are retailers, online retailers. If you're not selling a good, if you're selling a service, if you are looking for form fills for an event, something like that, you will not be able to do PLAs. If you want to get more traction with your PLAs, obviously optimizing your shopping campaigns, adjusting your bids, it's all about bids for visibility. And then finally, it looks like we're going to do the last question now. What is the growth of SEM moving forward? Great question. I would love to be able to give you a really clear, easy answer on this one. I think what we're going to see, some major things we'll see with SEM moving forward is, again, these kind of top positions will continue to be a priority as they've always been. I think PPC will get more and more important to run because, like I said earlier, you can't solely rely on organic, and this is just another kind of dagger in the heart of organic listings and SEO. I think more people will, if they don't find themselves super competitive when it comes to AdWords, they might start to be hyper-focused on things like RLSA campaigns. RLSAs are awesome because you can solely prioritize people who have already been to your site. These people are more likely to convert. So that's traffic that it's really good for you to focus on. So if you want to save money and not bid on everything, RLSA campaigns are awesome for you. Remarketing in general is great. We may see more people going to places like Bing or going to Facebook if CPCs do start to creep up. But like I said, I don't see major CPC changes in our future. I think for all of the drama that this change has created, the impact will be relatively low. And it's definitely not something to be freaking out about or panicked about. And just keep an eye on the news. That's the best thing you can do.
Great. Erin, thank you so much. That was awesome. And thank you all for joining us today. We definitely encourage you to email us and connect with us on Twitter if you have additional questions. And also, again, as Erin said, the WordStream blog is constantly being updated with news just like this. So you can stay on top of this change and then any other changes that may come down the road, which I'm sure there will be some.
There always, and that's the other thing. I think like we want to nail this point home. Google's always testing new things. PPC is always evolving. Like I said, they've been testing this since 2011, so it's nothing new. It's important that you keep on top of changes like this and are prepared for the evolution of PPC. So be that following blogs, working with a consultant, but just staying up to date.
Great. Yeah, so it's definitely be on the lookout for an email from Erin. She'll be sending out the recording and the slides later on this afternoon. And again, don't hesitate to reach out with any questions or concerns you might have. We have a full team here ready to answer any questions that you might have, and we're always here to help. So don't be shy on that front. And we look forward to seeing you on a future WordStream webinar. Thanks so much, guys. Have a good day.
Thanks, guys.